no hate. Sin to avoid, sin to confess. We don't need to hate other people. We need to love our neighbor as ourselves. And we need to love those that persecute us and come against us. We love our enemy. So, no hate. We've come to a portion where we are expounding, or Moses is expounding, the sixth commandment: thou shalt not kill. At the beginning of that commandment is one that says, or the beginning of this section is talking about cities of refuge. So there are to be, you see in verse 2 here, you shall set apart 3 cities. So there were to be 3 cities on each side of the Jordan, this on the west side and the one on the east side. 3 cities set apart for the Israelites to go to if they accidentally kill somebody. If there was a manslayer, if we look at verse 4, this is the provision for the manslayer who by fleeing there may save his life, if anyone kills his neighbor unintentionally. So here in this command, thou shalt not kill, by implication, there is a penalty for that. With the Old Testament covenant law, it was the death penalty. It was death. And so there was protection here. If somebody did it unintentionally, then these cities are the places to where someone should go. It gives examples of how this accidental death could happen, but they are to run to those cities, and those elders there are to protect those that have done this. It says, provided you are careful to keep all this commandment which I command you today by loving the Lord your God and walking ever in his ways, you shall add 3 other cities to these 3, lest innocent blood be shed in your land that the Lord your God has given you for an inheritance, and so the guilt of bloodshed be upon you. In the essence of, it's not good to kill somebody, to give somebody the death penalty if they did not in reality intentionally kill someone. So you see, God's law is giving this the distinction that we have today in our own law code, of a distinction between death that is murder that is premeditated and murder that is accidental or through neglect, if you will. Verse 11 says that if anyone hates his neighbor, so there's no exception for this one. If anyone hates his neighbor, lies in wait for him and attacks him and strikes him fatally so that he dies, and he flees to one of these cities of refuge, then the elders are not supposed to protect him as in the other case. They shall send and take him from there and hand him over to the avenger of blood so that he may die. The death penalty for breaking the sixth commandment. Now, verse 14 does seem to be a bit out of place here, but let's look at it for a second. You shall not move your neighbor's landmark, which the men of old have set in the inheritance that you will hold in the land that the Lord your God has given you to possess. It is not wise to change things that have been done the same way for a very long time. Yes, we have that old adage, we don't change because we've always done it that way. But we also have to ask ourselves, why has society always done it that way? Conservatism is a good thing. We need to be slow to change intelligently. And here's the warning of verse 14. Don't move your neighbor's landmark. The men of old have said it there. There is a reason we have always done it this way. Yes, there should be progressive change of the correct nature and in lining with God's will and his wisdom. But we also need to be cognizant and aware of the fact that there is a reason people have been doing it this way for a very long time. Verse 6:15 says, is now switching back to that fifth commandment, this whole idea of honoring your father and mother, honoring those in authority over you. And there is this command that for those that are judging, only on the evidence of 2 or of 3 witnesses shall a charge be established, giving wisdom and guidance to those that are in authority. And again, we see this phrase that we saw earlier: judges shall inquire diligently. They must not pass judgment. They must not pass punishments on others without carefully examining the case. And here's one that you know, verse 21, your eye shall not pity, it shall be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. But Jesus said, if somebody smacks you on the face, give him the other. and you shall love your neighbor as yourselves. You shall not kill. You shall not hate. You shall love. I pray that's been a blessing to you. See you in the next video.